Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial, and we're going to do some really cool VFX setup. So as you see on the screen, we have this Hexagon Floor interacting with us, and yeah, there are some settings. So if we want to tweak this how it interacts, we can, of course. So maybe we want another effect, so we can have it like this. Really cool. So we're going to start off in Houdini to make these hexagon shapes. And then we're going to go into VFX and figure out how to do this tiling grid. So we can tile grid. And there is some mathematic stuff we can do to make it easy. And then we're going to make this kind of noise, you see, so it's always moving a little bit, and do the shader for these hexagon shapes. So I guess it's going to be 3 or 4 tutorials, so let's get started. And we're going to start from an empty scene. And I have that one here. So this is what we're going to start off with, and I'm going to, let's see, yeah. So we're going to hide the ground floor for now. We're not going to use it. Actually, we're gonna keep the collision mesh, so when we walk around we will not fall through, but we won't see the mesh. So we're gonna have VFX instead to kind of visualize where we can walk. So the first thing, we're gonna open up Houdini. And here we have that, and I have it saved inside, well, next to the scene here, because when I save my Houdini mesh, it's going to pop up here. So it's really convenient. And if you don't have Houdini, or you can do the octagon shape or hexagon shape in another program, or I will provide this shape in the description. But I'm going to teach you how I do it in Houdini. So the first off, we need a geometry node. And if we just, it's pretty simple actually. If we do make a circle. So here we have a circle, and if we only do 6 divisions, well, 6 here, then we have a hexagon. And we need it to be in the up directions. We need X, Z. So that's good. So here we have it. So that's a hexagon shape. And what we're going to do, we're going to have a poly extrude. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to extrude this one down. And I'm going to do it extrude down -10 because we need it long. And then I'm just going to do a reverse. So here we have the kind of shape, and then we're just going to add the top shape here. And we're going to do that with another poly extrude here, poly extrude. And I want some kind of edge on this one, so I'm going to do an inset here. So let's do it like this, something. I think this will be nice. And if you see here, we can do output front. And the output front, it's kind of this part. So if we click here, we can have that as a group. And then if we just do another poly extrude, and here we only take the group. So this group here, we just pick it here, and then when we extrude here, we only extrude that part. So that's lovely. And then we just do a merge on these two, and now we have this kind of hexagon shape. And I just want it to be a little bit nicer in the corners. So let's make a fuse. And what fuse does, it's kind of fusing points. So if you think about this shape here, and then this shape here, we have 2 points here. So now there is 2 points here because they overlap. And then so if we look here, we have 30 points, and here we have 24 points. So they are kind of merging. So that's great. And then we just do this poly bevel. And now we can just do smoothing the corners. And it's going to look good in the viewport, having nice corners. I like corners, well, smooth corners. So yeah, perfect. And then I'm just going to use this match size, because if we look from the side, you see it's actually above the grid. So if we just make this one here, and then we do justify X, we do none, and Z none. Then we do the maximum on the eye, and now you see it's aligning very well. That's perfect. Then I just want an UV unwrap. So I'm going to make the outer one, auto UV map. So now we have it here, so that's great. That's going to be sufficient for us. We're going to use the UV map for smoothness to break it up a little bit. So that's nice. Then we're going to make a transform, because we need to compensate for the scale difference in Houdini and Unity. So we need to scale it up 100 times. And then we're going to do this ROP FBX output. Perfect. It's going to be the hexagon shape. Hexagon shape. So here we have it, quick and easy. And if you do save to disk, and if you notice transform 1 you have here, and if we go back to Unity and you open up here, you see transform 1. So what you can do, if you just change this to be the hexagon shape mesh, and then you save here. Now in Unity you have the name here. But what you also could do, that I would say is a better way of doing it, is to do attribute wrangler. And if you do prim, and then you do name, and then you can have your custom name. So I'm going to do like this, and if you do just like this, we need like NS. We're going to remove this one more, delete, and do one more time. So then you can just do to have hexagon name, well, mesh, because this is a more cleaner way to do it. And then you just, inside here, you just do build hierarchy from path attribute, and then you do a name, and then whatever you put in the name here on the primitives, and you save. Now you have hexagon mesh here. So if you just had different names and different stuff, then you have different stuff here. So that's really good. So if we move it to the scene, and here we have it, really nice. Perfect. So let's set up the visual effects graph. And we're going to start off by minimal system. And I'm going to name it hexagon. Yeah, going to be perfect. So I'm going to place it in the scene, and we open it up. So the first thing we want to make sure we have is that we have how many we want. So first off, we're going to spawn. So we're going to kind of decide how many we want in the X and Z directions. So we're going to do integer, and we're going to do size. So let's say if we have 10 by 10, so we can have this as a default by 10. Then we just do this one, and we multiply 10 by 10. And here we do spawn. Well, actually, let's do it one more time. Spawn, and we do single burst, because we only want to do this one time. So here we have the count, and if we have the scene down here, and yeah, if we save, so let's remove this output particle because we want to mesh. So we're going to mesh and we're going to have this shader graph mesh. We're going to make a shader graph eventually. So now we just drag and drop the hexagon mesh where the cube is. So now you can see here we have this the hexagon shape here. And we also want here to set size. And if we set it to 1 and save again, now we have it as intended. So it's 1 unit. Perfect. So the first thing we're going to do is to set up the grid. And we're going to make it here in the initialize. And we're going to make sure we can have 500,000 of them if we want. At the moment we have 10 by 10, so we have 100. And we're going to have this set position. And I think actually before we start with the position, I want to make sure that this shader looks good. So because it's missing a shader here, and instead of having this color, let's fix that one. So we're going to end up this tutorial, this section here, with making a lit shader graph. This is going to be hexagon 140. And here we have it. So because let's actually pull this one in here. So we have, here we have it. So we're going to make a shader for this one. And what I want, pretty easy stuff. We're just going to make a color. So we have a color in the base color. And actually we can, in the graph settings right away, do support VFX graph. And we do save here. And now, so this is a mesh. And this is the VFX setup here, that one. So if we open this one up, we can just move it here. And then inside the VFX setup, we drag this one here. So you can see it looks almost similar. It's the child shader you want here. And here we have the black one. And then we can change the color here. So let's make another color. Yeah, perfect. But we're going to add some more stuff to the shader. And we're going to make a simple noise. So we added an UV channel to this shape. And the noise, that's why we made a UV because we need it to the noise. So we're going to have a tiling and we're going to have it in here. And the reason we use a tiling is because we don't want the shape, the smoothing pattern look same on all of them. So we're going to be able to do some UV offset. So we're going to have it UV offset. So we're going to do that here. And we're going to do it like this because we won't offset it depending on the E position, only on the X and Z. So we do XZ like this. And then we just move it in here. Perfect. And then we're going to do a remap on this one. So it's going to be remapped 0 to 1. And we're going to here have a float. We're going to have smoothness min. So this is going to be a slider from 0 to 1. And then we're going to have yet another one. And this is going to be the smoothness max. So we plug this one in a vector 2 actually. So we're going to do it like this. So this is going to be smoothness min and max, and we're going to have it here. And then we have it in the smoothness. Perfect. And then last one, metallic. We have the metallic here. I'm going to put the metallic to a default value to 0.6. I think that's fine. And then we do this like 0.5 and 0.9. I think that's fine. And then we just save it. So this is, yeah. And the reason we want it like this is because now in here, we can work with this smoothness and stuff. So it's perfect. So let's see, it doesn't seem like we can... there is no smoothness to it. How come? Maybe the smoothness is a little bit too big, so let's try it at 10 instead. Yeah. I think that's going to be fine. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it for this now. Actually, let's do 50. Yeah, that should probably make more effect. Yeah. 50 is a good value. So now we have fixed the shader, and make sure you do the support VFX graph here, and we are here, and we're going to start by setting up this position to have this as a grid. So this is the mesh we can remove here, and now this is all the 100 hexagon shapes we have in the same position in the setup. So see you in the next tutorial.